You're listening to a Cult Talk Network podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to Cultober 2023. We're here on another fine Sunday evening for another PG review. I'm Ty.
I'm Eric.
I'm Bailey.
And I'm Ben.
And we're looking at, we're returning to something, actually. If you listened last year to Cultober 2, The Return, you have heard our review of the Halloween Tree movie, classic animated film from the 90s. And today we're taking a look at the book in which it was based off of, The Halloween Tree by Ray Bradbury.
Yeah. The animated was amazing. It's definitely, I love that old style, that art style.
Yeah,
and
me
even
too.
a little bit further back, you get into like the Buena Vista stuff where they just did the straight up matte paintings.
Oh, yeah.
God, I miss that old style animation.
Me too. I do too.
And so covering the Halloween Tree was just great.
Yeah. That movie just makes me feel so good. It's like that just puts me in the spirit watching that one. Yeah, it's the perfect movie for the Halloween season. So whimsical and just it's just a great feel good movie.
It is, and it's educational as well, which is a delicate balance that we often fail at today.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And this book doubles, triples, quadruples down on that.
This book, I guess you wanted to explain it best, or like the Halloween Tree. It's kind of like a history of Halloween is kind of what it goes for.
Yeah.
Eight boys get a history in Halloween by Death himself.
Yes, that is the log line for this book. This book, as we said, was written by Ray Bradbury. It was released in 1972.
Damn,
so
nice.
It's an old one.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
The language makes sense then.
It does.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. This the reading this book is fantastic as well. I highly implore anyone if you like to read or if you like listen to audiobooks. Audible was very good. Audible.
So good on Audible.
It is a delight to listen to.
Yeah, it is. The way that the way that sentences are structured is amazing.
Yeah.
There is an audio play version on Audible that I'm really wanting to check out.
I downloaded that last year and it's pretty good. It's like an hour and a half or something like that. It's significantly shorter. It's like an audio play. You're not getting all the narration that you would get in the book.
Right.
But it's really good. I listened to that last year when I was like flying back from Florida, I think it was. So I remember that was pretty nice.
I'll bet that is good. But man, if you guys can just do the audiobook too, that the prose are just, it's like a dance across the page. Like
it really is.
Has such a beat and
well, the author Ray Bradbury, I don't know a lot about him, but I do know that guy like shit out.
Yeah.
That guy was a prolific writer.
Yes.
Yeah, he's kind of like one of those Stephen King kind of guys where he just writes
children's books.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think he wrote for adults as well.
Ooh.
But
he wrote Fahrenheit 451. Is that what he wrote?
Fahrenheit 451. There's a whole section of Wikipedia for him that says cultural contributions.
Oh,
influential guy. Yeah, I think he pretty much covered. His bibliography has a whole different page.
Wow,
I bet it's a lot of stuff we've heard of and a lot of stuff we haven't. The Martian Chronicles, he wrote that.
Okay.
Something Wicked, This Way Come.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Some of these I haven't heard of. Let's All Kill Constance, Farewell Summer. Those are more recent than I thought they would be too.
Yeah, he lived for a while because I was even reading when I was looking into stuff. He died in 2012 when he passed away.
Wow.
Yeah. So he lived from 1920 to 2012. So he's 90 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, really. He earned it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was reading. Yeah, I was kind of shocked. So I was reading little facts about Halloween trees, trying to find stuff. And I read apparently in Disneyland, California, every year they hang a Halloween tree, and he was actually there for the first year they did it. It was 2007. I was like, that can't be right. I had to look see what he did.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, I thought he was a lot older than that, but yeah. So he was there for the inaugural lighting of that tree apparently.
Wow.
2007.
That's beautiful.
That's really cool. I didn't know that they were tied to Disney.
I didn't either. I don't think they own it or something. I don't think they have any IP to it, but they have it apparently at the California Disneyland. They hang one up every year.
It doesn't surprise me. There's absolutely nothing that they won't leech to death.
Yeah. I got kind of worried too. I was reading stuff about Halloween Tree, and you always get stuff about the movie. And the movie's pretty iconic.
Oh yeah.
And I seen where apparently there's a reboot in the works, and I was like, oh, of course, there's a reboot in the works.
Yeah.
So I started looking, and I was like, the reboot is in development with Warner Brothers.
Okay.
So it's not in work with Disney, which is that's a plus.
Okay.
It is with screenwriter Will Dunn. So I was like, well, who's Will Dunn?
What's he done? Yeah.
He's done one thing, and he was the writer on Miss Marvel.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
No.
That fantastic Disney Plus television series.
Why? What about that goddamn sack of donkey shit would imply that this motherfucker is worth writing?
Well, to be fair, he was a story editor. He was a story editor on Miss Marvel.
A story editor?
Oh, he was a story editor.
Yeah.
And they want him to write the script?
Yeah, I couldn't find anything he's screenwriting. I couldn't find anything it looks like he is like a career editor.
Well, you know what?
Then don't write.
You know what? He ain't getting shit now because they're on strike like morons. So he can just stand out there with the rest of the plebs and lose their fucking jobs.
Oh
And they can burn the goddamn castles down with them while they're at it because both sides are cocksuckers.
Oh boy.
Now also there's a man named Charlie Morrison. I couldn't find anything for him, but apparently those are the writing team that are at least overseeing it. I couldn't find anything about him. I don't know what he's worked on. I tried looking him up, just couldn't find anything about him. He has an IMDb page, but he just was like a co-producer on those Divergent movies.
Okay, so that's right. He has just been kind of
yes.
Yeah.
That's why you're in this predicament. Is this whole fucking organization just filled with these dumbasses?
Yeah, it looks like he's done like a bunch of YA stuff. Is what this other guy, Charlie Morrison.
Okay,
he just did like those Divergent movies. He worked on. Well, he was an assistant on one of the Twilight movies.
Oh, which one?
Breaking Dawn Part 2.
Oh, that sucked.
He was an assistant.
The bad ones of Twilight.
He was an assistant on there. I don't know what he had to do. He was an assistant, so he was going to fetching coffee and shit.
Yeah.
Let me guess. He went to Bad Robot School of Storytelling too, right? Learned script writing under J.J. Abrams.
He was an executive producer on a Netflix movie I've never heard of called Outside the Wire.
Oh, great!
I've never heard of it.
It looks like it has Anthony Mackie in it. I've never heard of it. It came out in 2021. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Some low budget vampire movie called Night Teeth.
Oh God,
Night Teeth.
Another Netflix movie I've never heard of called The Weekend Away, and just produced those.
I don't think that somebody that does YA would be good to do this. I think you would actually need somebody that's got some
experience,
yeah,
history under their belt.
Yeah,
imagine Del Toro doing it.
Yes,
that'd be awesome.
We go. Exactly.
Yes.
Now there's a guy who understands the look, the feel, but he also understands the lessons you're trying to teach and the gentle. Although it's not so gentle, but it is kind of gentle hand in what you're dealing here.
Yeah.
You don't need these dumbasses. It's like, hey, these two pointless motherfuckers space, and that's supposed to be romantic somehow.
Yeah. You need somebody who can actually create a vibe.
Yes.
Yeah, because it is like the whole move, the movie in particular, as well as the book.
Yeah.
The movie, the aesthetic of it was so fucking good, and that was one of the main things about it. It's like you were, as soon as the movie opens up, you are in a Halloween night. You are it's cool and crisp, and there's a smell of pumpkins in the air, and you are in Halloween.
I almost hate it because you're like, no, that's what I want my Halloween to be.
Exactly. Same here.
That good.
Same here. You're watching it, and you're just like, God damn, I wish I would. That's how Halloween is supposed to be, but
it's never quite there.
But am I wrong that you're like, no, I had a Halloween like that or two?
Yeah. It is completely
absolutely
familiar feeling. Absolutely. As a kid, for sure, I do feel like there were
that longing. You want that back.
Yeah. And maybe it never was, but it feels both familiar and its own thing in that movie. It's really good. No. Yeah.
And in the book. The book, my favorite part of the book is very early on is when the kids are just running through the town. Now, the rest rest of the book is great.
Yeah.
But that part to me just felt so familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you had those beautiful matte paintings. They were, oh god, it's just so fucking good.
Yeah,
I want to watch that movie really bad. I guess I'm breaking kayfabe here, but yeah, we're obviously not recording this in October. I try to hold that movie off until October.
There are things that demand their proper time and place.
Yes, I'm the same way with Trick or Treat. I don't like watching that in the middle of the year. I gotta watch that in Halloween.
Nope. Krampus is one that I'll only
Krampus, same. Right. Christmas Vacation. I don't watch that until I'll watch that one around November-ish, but it has to be that season before I watch it.
It does.
Yeah. Home Alone.
Alone is another one. It's got to be Christmas.
I'm like there's certain things I hold off for those seasons. There's other movies that are intended for Christmas and Halloween, but I watch them whenever.
Halloween itself is one that is cannot indulge unless it's October.
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely. Ginger Snaps for me. That's one that is
I can see that.
Strictly like fall.
I hate that movie.
I love that movie so much.
I hate seeing dogs die, and that's all that movie is let's kill dogs every chance you fucking get. I don't fuck with that movie. I hate that movie.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's a good reason to hate that movie, though.
It's like all that movie is just killing dogs.
I'm sorry.
I believe that Ginger Snaps is required watching for werewolves, just because you will not. You will not find another take on werewolves that's like that. So because it is so unique, you do need to watch it.
Yeah, I think you watch it once. I can't watch it multiple times. No. Yeah. I find it's a little too edgelordy for me too. That's why I don't like it either.
I'm at with it, and it's like unaware of that.
Yes.
Well, it's so you have
it becomes a parody of it almost, like unintentionally.
It's mid '90s when it came out, right? That was the era of the end.
I think it was like 2000s, wasn't it?
Oh, was it 2000s?
I think it was a 2000s flick. Yeah.
Oh,
I think it was like early 2000s. I think it was post Scream. I'm pretty sure.
With the '90s, right?
Yeah, it's like post Scream. It's very Canadian too. I know all the actors because I watch a lot of really bad Canadian horror films.
Oh,
and I know all the actors are Canadian.
Okay, it's a 2000 film.
Okay. Yeah, it's 2000. Yeah, it was around the time of like disturbing behavior and stuff like that. so you watch a lot of Canadian horror. We'll take a little bit of a Ginger Snaps tangent just for a second. Mike loves it when we do this.
Yes. I have had
buckle up, Mike.
I have had the question about this movie for so long. In Canadian horror films, is it common for the neighborhood to be depicted as both on top of each other but somehow strangely isolated at the same time?
Yeah, I think it's like the way most cities are in Canada. I think it's because it's a vast country up there, and it's not as they're not built like America, I guess.
But like in Ginger Snaps, they're like in this suburban, like everybody's got a fenced in yard, but it feels like they're miles apart from one another.
Yeah.
I was just like, what the hell is going on with this? What kind of neighborhood is this? Is this something that's just unique to Canadian films, or did this film just have something to say about it? I don't know. It's fucking weird. That is a weird goddamn movie.
That is a weird movie.
Essie, as our resident Canadian, will have to tell us.
Oh yeah, I was at that.
Ask Essie. I forgot that you're not American, and therefore I'm not saying lesser, but you know.
We know you'd be American if you could.
Yeah. If you were smarter, you'd be American. It's fine.
Wow.
I mean, I don't think he's saying anything wrong.
I don't know. No, listen, I would not take Ginger Snaps as a standard for Canadian media. I would take.
No, I don't think Ginger Snaps is held as like representative of the country of Canada.
I don't think it would be.
I would hope not.
I bet it's representative of Canadian women, though. That makes sense.
As dogs.
I didn't say that. That is not what I said.
Wait a minute. Where is this going? Why are we doing this?
So Halloween tree.
Yeah, Halloween tree. There was a lot of differences I noticed in this book. I think we'll talk about them in the next segment. So I kind of was thinking about how structured this. I think we should that should be a main point of this. I feel like should be a main point of our review is also the dissection of the differences between the book and the movie, because there is quite a bit. I don't think I read a lot of things when I was after I listened to the book. I went and I kind of looked up to see difference between book and movie, see if there's anything I missed, and it seems like there's a pretty big consensus. Most people prefer the movie over the book.
Interesting.
Which Ray Bradbury, was he wrote the script for the movie,
right?
So he the script for the movie was his.
Oh, I can
his vision for it. So
I know why most people prefer the script.
You do?
As soon as I heard this in the book, I was like, oh, I know why they cut this out, and I'll bet people prefer it.
Okay,
I prefer it. I prefer the movie over the book, but I don't think that necessarily takes away from the book. The book has its own thing. It feels like its own. Like it has. It's not bad in any way.
Right.
Although I'll bet it has a lot to do with the time.
Absolutely.
And it was originally written as a script, I guess, and it wasn't made into anything, so he made it into a book.
Yes.
And it got
I wonder
a
if
movie.
Yeah, but I wonder if some of the stuff in it, like there's some pretty heavy not backhanded, but there's some heavy honesty about Christianity in there.
There is.
What are you talking about?
That is not in the movie.
The Christians are coming. I love that
Yeah,
part.
Oh my God.
There's some honesty about what happened with Christianity and some of the other things that I can see not having
for the time period, not getting
that seems like a lot of like Ray Bradbury. Ray Bradbury was like pretty rebellious and like his take on a lot of things.
History, as far as he knew it at the time, for as up to date as we were on
he was
how things.
Because wasn't like
I don't think he was any more favorable to the Romans in this than he was to the Christians.
Oh no,
but
he was like a pretty controversial guy. Like I know, like 451, that was pretty controversial when it came out, wasn't it? Now it's looked at as kind of a cautionary tale, but I know that was like pretty tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of that work usually is looked at that way when it comes out.
Yeah. Honestly, I preferred the book over the movie.
Really?
Not to knock the movie at all.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
it was great. But yeah, honestly, the book was
the book definitely
about how incredible it was.
I was saying incredible is the word you want to use.
Yeah. I want to.
Why?
If I start out there, I'm just going to be repetitive through the whole thing.
I hate
that's kind of my thing. It's like I feel like if I'm talking about the book and the movie, it's just going to be a bunch of praise. I don't have a lot of knocks on either pieces of these two media.
When I did Trick or Treat or Krampus, I was slogging dick all day long. If you like it, you like it.
Oh no, I've been looking forward to this episode too ever since I listened to the book. By the end of it, I was like, oh my God, I cannot wait to talk about all of this.
Yeah.
So it's good that you guys have a lot of, because I was so lost in the book, I kind of don't remember what the differences are necessarily between the movie and the book. So
there's a few. There's shockingly not a lot. It's mainly just like stuff I'm sure they cut just to tighten up the story for the screen. Is what they did.
I don't know. Sure. The Samhain into Roman into Christian, and then also the witches. They cut a lot of the witches stuff. I bet a lot of that was cut because they didn't want to stir up.
Right.
Was the broom factory in the movie? Do you remember that?
No, it wasn't.
That wasn't. In the movie.
I was reading that. I was like, man, that would probably look pretty cool on a movie screen. It's like, the brooms being produced. That would have been really neat to see.
That one I bet was cut for time.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Just like the kind of some of the ending, I bet was trimmed for time as well.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm sure a lot of this.
But there's some of that I bet was trimmed for content.
Well, you guys want to talk about it? Let's dive into our next segment here.
Okay,
you guys ready to go? Let's hop on our bicycles. Let's take a little ride. Let's go see the Halloween tree.
I never learned how to ride a bike.
I'll take a kite.
Oh.
I'm taking a broom.
There you go. I'm gonna hope those little brick things start appearing. I'm gonna start stomping into the air until bricks appear under my feet. That's how I'm getting there.
They're step you up into the sky.
We watched the movie last year, and that was kind of like a highlight of the of Cultober 2. For us, anyways. I don't think it's done like spectacular on like the view side, but so be it. It's been fun.
I don't think so, but
this is a. I am so like every time I watch Halloween Tree, I just get upset that I didn't watch it as a kid because I didn't watch it as a kid. I didn't. I watched it.
Me neither.
I was in my 20s when I watched it because I remember Mike and our friend Butters, rest in peace. He was trying to get me to watch this for a long time, and they were like, oh, it's fine. Like I'll watch it. So I watched it and I loved it.
Yes.
And I immediately went out to Walmart and it was like just at Walmart on DVD, so I picked it up and had it ever since.
Yeah. I must have seen like a scene or two as a kid because it looked familiar, but other than that, I didn't watch it in its entirety as a kid. So I missed out.
I had never heard of it, never knew it existed. And Michael's like, I want to do this book or this movie that's based on a children's book. He goes, and I'm not going to pitch it to you. I'm just going to show you the trailer and see what you think. And he showed it to me, and he showed me 5 seconds of the trailer. And I was like, down, 100% down. This artwork, the tone, I'm down. And man, I'm just like you, Ty. I was like, how did I not have
exactly? I was like, I don't know how I didn't see that just on like Nickelodeon, because I guess it played a lot on Cartoon Network. I guess during October. I don't know how I seen that. Yeah,
See, I was on Cartoon Network all the time.
Yeah. Because even the I like getting VHS for like certain things. I want to get this on VHS. I know like the VHS of this actually it's like a Cartoon Network branded VHS tape. So.
Oh yeah, does it have the checkered across the top?
Yep, checkered across the top. Yep.
Nice, nice.
Cute.
So that's something I need to pick up. But it's a Cartoon Network thing. I don't know how I was a Nickelodeon kid, but my sister was a Cartoon Network kid. So I don't know how I didn't like catch this somehow in our rotation of cartoons.
See, I got lucky. I was Cartoon Network, but we also had Boomerang, so I had the stuff. Which, by the way, it's HBO Max, man, uploaded the Johnny Quest, the old Johnny
HBO
Quest.
Max has a shit ton of the cartoons.
Man, that old Johnny Quest stuff is just like that artwork, man. I love that shit so much. It's a little racy, They call people savages and stuff. That it's good. I don't care.
It's a product of the time.
It is, but that artwork, which is Halloween Tree, has that in spades.
Yes.
So that's how I got introduced to it, was the artwork. Which that's a good way to do it. Yeah, that's a cheat code for my brain.
Yeah.
I know the first time I watched it, Mike showed it to me, and like that was immediately as soon as the opening comes up and you see the town, I was like, this is a movie for me. Like I'm hooked on this.
Right. Yeah. That's what it did. I was like, I'm gonna like this. I don't care what it's about.
Bailey, I'm assuming your first time seeing it was last year as well, right?
Same. Yeah, this was not in the Rolodex of movies we had under the rock. So first time, like even seeing it, like hearing about it or anything, was when Mike was like, okay, I'm just going to show you this and have it be the pitch. And by the end of it, I was like, can we watch it now? Like, I want to watch it. I want to see it. Like, why are we waiting? No, let's do it. And then like, also like when we watched this for the first time, it was such a beautiful setting because we were all together. It was all the friends and the fam and the snacks and it was beautiful.
Oh yeah, we watched it in the theater. Yeah.
Yes, it was beautiful.
Which is the best.
Oh,
man, can you imagine what
big projector?
I would watch this in a movie theater and I'd be happy as a pig and shit.
Oh yes, yep.
I would like to really watch it on VHS. That's why I want to watch it. I want to watch it on a fucking. I want to watch it on a box TV on VHS. That's the way I want to watch it. So
Guardians on a VCR.
Oh,
you have a VCR.
You have VCR?
I have a VCR.
Does it work?
News to me.
I have no idea.
Listen, I
have a bunch of tapes.
Yeah, we need.
Me and Mike picked up a VCR like a couple years back when we was living together in Chillicothe, and we picked up a VCR, and he was flipping it on eBay or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I was like, before we flip it, I was like, let's watch something. So we watched Jurassic Park on VHS on it. Whoa! That was awesome. That was fantastic.
That's awesome.
Wow. Yeah, that's a VHS. That was like one of the first tapes I ever picked up when I was decided I want to start getting select tapes. That's just an iconic like tape. That's like
that has a good cover. It's all black.
Oh, iconic. Yeah,
that was like a minimalist. Like you know, because
you didn't need to sell anyone on Jurassic Park.
No, you did not.
They're like, that has dinosaurs in it. Time to take. That's all they needed to know, and it's dark.
The one that I would like insist on seeing on VHS again is actually the first Rugrats movie.
Orange
that
tape.
was like my favorite movie. One of my favorite movies growing up, and it had the orange VHS tape because it was Rugrats and it was Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
This is I go to Half Price Books a lot. Me and Evan go there quite a bit, and there's like 3 of them up here in Columbus. Mm-hmm. So we'll kind of go to one where we're nearby, and they have a really good VHS tape like selection. So I always look through those. That's where I pick up a lot of the stuff I have. But I'm always looking for the Halloween Tree.
Yeah,
that's like that and Beetlejuice are like 2. I'm always like, I want to find them. I can get them on eBay easy, but I prefer to find things in the wild. The thrill of the hunt. I prefer the thrill of the hunt. Yeah,
I'm on the hunt.
Yeah, I'm a hunter. That's why I hunt VHS tapes. But I have yet to find one. But I'm on the hunt. Yeah. That's what I should. Yeah, get into it.
Oh my god!
Make a big scene when I go to the price book.
Oh, they're in the wild.
Yeah, sniffing around for them.
We'll have to see if there. I bet there's at least one like store that's nothing but old VHS tapes somewhere. In the country.
There are a few. Like I've yet to find one here in Columbus. But that's a big. There's one down in Cincinnati I want to go to. It's called I forget what it's called. It's down in Cincinnati. Me and Evan have talked about going on there for a while. But they're big on the VHS stuff and just vintage things. So I want to go there and check them out.
No,
Thrift stores are a great place to find them. Out of the closet up here, they have like a whole rack of them.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio thrifts always have a bunch of VHS tapes. So
Oh yeah.
it's all about the thrill of the hunt. I like the hunt. So
nice. really want a VCR now. I need to hunt one out.
Well, Bailey apparently has one. You're going to be digging out Barbies here soon. So why don't you dig out a VCR?
There we go.
There we go.
We
We'll
can
put it on an altar. It's an ancient relic
Praise
now.
the machines.
Yes.
Yeah. But Halloween Tree would be great watching. That's the way I'd prefer to watch it if I can make that work. Get a VHS tape.
That would be good.
Yeah.
But so the book was something we talked about. We was going to try to do like a thing where we read it and reviewed the movie last year.
Right.
So remember I sent the book to you guys to look over, and we didn't get to it. But when it came time to plan Cultober 2, what better way than to return to something we love? Let's throw Halloween Tree on Cultober 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't think anyone was complaining about that.
Oh no, I was so ready.
So
and the book, and it was great.
The book follows similar beats to what the movie does.
Yeah.
It obviously being a book, it has more room to go in depth to things.
Yeah.
One things I thought was Pippin doesn't seem. You think he's more prominent in the movie or the book?
The book.
You think he's more prominent in the movie? I thought he's more prominent in the movie.
I think so too. In the book, he was more talked about than he was shown. Even though, he was still shown at kind of those same beats.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because at the beginning in the movie, we don't even see Pipkin. We see him, this ambulance leaving, right?
Oh, that's right.
But in the book, they go to the house, he tries to tough it out, and then he actually shows up. They have that scene where he falls down into the ravine and is trying to light his pumpkin, and Death steals him.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more of him present at the beginning of the story, at least, than there was in the movie.
It probably just feels like to me that there's more Pipkin in the movie than there is in the book, because the book has so much more,
other stuff
to it that's being talked about throughout that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Prose. But honestly, I think probably story beat wise, it's about the same. I think you're right, more or less. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of to me it felt like he was more prominent in the movie. Maybe that's because I had the visual aspect of it.
Yeah,
we was seeing him floating around the whole time, and
and
all that
in a visual medium. Like in the book, they really can reminisce and think about him and talk about him.
Well, in the book, we also have the scene where he shows up as a dog.
Yeah,
we didn't get that in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's
then
true.
The part where he's on a broom, was that in the movie?
Yes, he's on a broom.
He's one of the wise men,
because he shows up
wise men. Yes, he's actually being like mummified in the Egypt scene.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which you think I thought too, the Christ allegory, not as subtle in the book as it is in the movie. seemed a little more prominent.
I don't know. I don't know that I could. I don't know that it would qualify as an allegory at that point.
Yeah, I think in the book it was more like
a direct statement.
This kid's Christ.
Yep.
or Christ adjacent.
I actually kind of have some new thoughts on that theory, having read the book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that now, or do you want to say it for later?
I don't know.
Let's do it now.
Okay.
We're here.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. So Pip is kind of like a tall tale in the book at first when we're introduced to him.
He's a mythological figure.
So that's something we can talk about real quick. Let's tell the audience. So when Pipkin was born, it was an event.
Yes.
What is it? Every soda pop in the world exploded. Open.
It's over.
But bees, for some reason, intentionally went out and stung virgin maidens.
Yep.
I don't know what. I don't know why. It's like the sluts have it hard. We're gonna go after them.
The thing with reading this too is like you read some lines, you're like, "What the fuck does that mean?" But you don't really know. But you're like, "Sounds cool." Like it's like sounds pretty badass.
All right, it creates
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
So my thought behind this is what we're seeing is not like a a factual account.
Right.
But it's more the way these boys view.
Yeah,
It's how
view
he makes
Pipkin. Yeah.
feel.
Yes.
Yeah. It's how he makes it feel.
Everything about Pipkin in this is from their point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for him, like to them, he's like
The perfect boy.
life, vibrancy, like excitement, and everything about, because the whole thing is like, the whole book is about death.
He's the anti-Mountroud.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
life.
There you go.
He's
There you
life,
go.
where Mountroud is death.
Yeah.
And so this is where, so here's my speculative theory time. There is a book called The Golden Bow.
Oh shit!
Which-
We're bringing in other books.
I'm
now.
sorry.
Fuck.
Nobody these days has read it.
God.
Few have heard of it, but it's had like a pretty big impact on literature as far as we go. And what it is that even the author of that book will say it's speculative, but he's looking back at like comparative mythology and religion. And what he is speculating and proposing is that there's this kind of recurring theme of a sacrificed god. So, and it matches the wheel of the year. We go into winter. The god of life has been killed or sacrificed, and then we have to sacrifice to bring him back for our springtime and stuff. Yeah.
I see where you're
You
going.
see what I'm saying here? Yes. So I think that's what Pipkin is now.
Yeah,
So
he's the sun god.
yeah, he's the sun god.
He is.
So that's what I'm getting
Mountroud is the moon.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
he comes
Ooh,
out.
nice.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm buying. I'm buying what you're selling right
Right
now.
on,
I'm
right
getting
on.
it.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
They
there
even
we go.
talk about it.
yeah,
They even directly talk about it.
yeah.
Neat.
So
Okay.
cool. Anyway, there we go. There's my proposal on the floor.
Well,
I can definitely buy into that.
Right on.
I can definitely
Who else
buy
is
into
excited
that.
That
about
was cool.
so
All right.
I would say you're reaching, except for the fact that they directly talk about like Osiris and his brother.
Exactly.
And-
Yeah.
And when Mountroud comes, Pipkin is gone, and Mountroud is actually the one that takes Pipkin.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
So it's the brother.
Taking him away.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's representing the whole journey that they're going through as humanity deals with this same sort of thing in different time periods and
Yep.
scopes. So
And Pipkin is the antithesis to Mountroud. Mountroud's old, Pipkin's young.
yeah.
One's more vibrant and lively, whereas
Yeah.
Mountroud is more like a skeleton, decayed and gray.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm with you.
Cool.
I would say that if you would ask Ray Bradbury about it, he would say, yeah, that's intentional.
Ooh, yeah. I hope so.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's pretty like, as far from my understanding of, I haven't read The Golden Bow, but I've read about it. Okay. That's kind
No, I'm with
that's
you.
the theory he proposes, and it seems to kind of match. And
Mhm.
yeah.
And what's,
I'm definitely buying that. I think that makes a lot of sense.
and what's cool is this is a kid's. That kind of shit right there is why like you don't want a YA idiot to do this movie. You need somebody like Del Toro
Oh gosh.
who actually understands this kind of shit.
Yeah, because there's some actual like nuance in there.
There is. There's a lot of and it's because you're supposed to take care with what you teach children because they're going to learn it way more than us.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
feathered touches and all that. God damn.
No, I'm sure whatever reimagining comes out is gonna be pretty shitty. But
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say earlier, I hope they don't remake
I
this.
wonder if this is public domain. Maybe we should remake it. We should do it.
I'll tell you
We should
what.
do it.
Yeah,
Let's
straight up.
do
It
it.
is kind of a call to rush to do stuff and do it honestly before somebody else does it.
Right. Yeah.
Let's
Do-
do it.
Do it out of love before some idiot does it out of whatever.
Right. Spite.
Oh my god, it would be out of spite this time. You know what? At the end of it, they would let Pipkin just rot in hell.
They would.
Oh, yeah, they
Oh yeah, that's what happened. Yeah.
Why?
Or it would be Pippi. It would be a female.
It'd be
Oh,
Pippi. It'd be Pippi.
That would be
Yeah, that'd be
Pippi.
Pippi.
For
Definitely.
starters, yeah.
Halloween tree. I'm not seeing it listed in the public domain.
Darn.
Darn.
Someone owns that IP. Warner Brothers, apparently.
You know what?
Yeah.
We'll do the Halloween ficus. It's fine.
I guess.
The Halloween
There we
bush.
Yeah. It's gonna be gorgeous.
That sounds like an 80s porn. We
That
can't-
does, yeah.
Halloween bush.
The Halloween shrub.
That's better.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Shrub.
a shrubbery.
Anyway,
You make more modern. It could be a what are those? A succulent. It could be a Halloween succulent. Those are
Let's do that. I like that. I like that a lot.
the Halloween succulent. You don't have to water them. But yeah, I don't know if a remake would have as much nuance that, but I definitely pick up what you're putting down, Eric. I think that is fantastic. That's a very interesting way of
we need to clip
looking
that
at
for
it.
a short, baby. That right there. That's advertisement for the episode. Good job, Eric.
Thanks. And he's such a good writer. Like, he's able to tell that story even as he's telling this, you know what I mean? On a thematic level, just kind of through the layers of it into the kind of like more subtle stuff that's unspoken all the way up to the like, no, this is how they did Halloween back then. You know, it's like layered all throughout it.
It kind of honestly goes back to that teaching children lessons through like entertainment and whatnot. And it's kind of teaching kids about death and like not being so afraid of it.
That is another big part of this book.
Which is one of my favorite lessons because I think it's one that is probably the one that's woefully undertaught.
Oh, yeah.
Goddamn, there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah. And as we see it there, like they kind of Pip's life is threatened and we, shows those kids that can happen at any time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No matter how young you are.
And it doesn't matter how good you are either.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's a really good aspect of it to put too, because they hold Pipkin up with such reverence that nothing bad can happen to Pipkin, but you see it
does.
And it's clear that it's not a punishment; it's just something that happens.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, you're right.
And the fact that Moundshroud is the one that takes Pipkin, but yet he remains a protagonist, not an antagonist.
Yeah, he's never really an antagonist.
No.
In this.
No, just shows that he tried to treat death very neutrally, but actually more on the friendly side.
Yeah.
Just because, and I would believe that it's because it's something that we can't get around, so why make it an enemy?
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's a big part of what his point in this book is to those boys. That's why he's, because it's like as they're looking at humanity's way of dealing with and accepting death, they're able to start to do that too with the more personal example, among themselves.
Yeah.
So,
and it also helps teach them, like, is it worth the sacrifice?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God. Talking about that part, that had such weight to it in the book. I think it had more weight to it in the book than in the movie.
It did because you spent more time.
Yes, because you were able to kind of really get into what that would mean in a way that you probably just couldn't do for a kid's movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But
it kind of reminds me of we can get into it later.
No.
It kind of reminds me of a quote. And I think you were the one that told me it, or I heard it, I don't know, somewhere. But it was the price of loving someone is knowing that you'll lose them one day.
That's what I say. That's what I tell people about pets is like part of the price you pay as a pet owner because you're going to outlive them. You just are. There's nothing you can do about it. But part of the price you pay for being a pet owner is saying that what they contribute to your life and how much you love them is worth that pain later.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And in this, they are able to apply this to Pipkin.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And to really think about what that means. And
man, this book needs to be more prominent. It's a shame that it's such a hidden gem.
It's all silent.
Just thinking about it.
This should be required reading.
Important. I think this is important stuff.
It is important.
Yeah.
Man, and we're not old. Like,
no, we're not.
Am I the oldest one sitting here?
I think so.
Ursa's not here.
Yeah, I think Ursa's the only one older than you.
So as of recording, I'm 35. That's not super old, but it is getting to the point where like 40 is not far off. And, 5 years and 10 years starts getting shorter. And you really do start seeing like that death starts getting closer and closer. And people have a hard time handling it. And something like this to be aimed at children is really strengthening. It's something that really needs to be driven home early. And it would save you so much anguish later in life.
Yeah.
If you can just learn the lesson this story is trying to teach.
Again, this goes into my aggravation. This isn't something I was introduced to earlier in my life.
I know.
I feel like it would be so beneficial to have the lessons in this book.
Me too.
I actually would give a testicle if we could get like that version, the movie we got, but the whole book, just so we have a proper translation of this book, because so many parents are not going to read this to their kids. So many kids are not going to read it. But if we had a direct translation to screen, they would.
Right. Be just that much more accessible to them.
But
they could watch
it won't be.
Yeah.
But this book straddles the line today of what a lot of parents would consider to be too dark for the age range that it's aimed at.
Yeah.
But I think that's where its strength lies.
Me too. I think stuff like that is like another book that like had some controversy too. It was Where the Wild Things Are.
Yes.
And the way that it addressed anger. They were like, people had a problem with that. But I'm like, that's because it's honest. It's an honest book, and you should be honest with your kids about like what to expect out of life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can, it presents the world as it is, not as we want it to be.
Right. And so addressing these things with kids is pretty important. And I caught it kind of late in life. I had the Catholic upbringing view of death. I do wish that I had this introduced, somewhere in there along the way too.
Yeah.
Well, for someone that was traumatized, this would have been fabulous. So
yeah, man, I'll tell you, I'll go ahead and kick it off. Like the scene that's not in the movie, that's in the book, that I would have been. There's two, but there's one I remember instantly been like, this would have been so cool. Was the ape man scene where they're in a cave with the fire? I'm like, why is this not in the movie?
Right.
The Samhain part would have been with the Romans and the Christians. I get why that's not in the movie.
Right. Now we're getting a little controversial.
Yes, especially for like the time period at which this came out, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
But that caveman scene, man, that would have been so cool to see in that art style.
That was something I wasn't expecting. Was the caveman scene? That was great.
yeah, because that wasn't in the. Well, they had to cut everything in half, right?
Like, they cut it from 8 to 4.
So,
so we go. There's in the book. There's 8 boys. In the movie, there's 4 boys, 1 girl.
Yeah.
And what you really lose is that real foundational travel through time.
Yeah, and that look at, because the ape man stuff is like the root of it. It's like we're afraid of death and we're afraid of the dark.
And actually, without that scene, you can't ask the question that the book asks at the very end. He asks to jump to the end. He asks Malmshroud, "Will we ever stop being afraid of the dark?"
Oh,
that's the question that's originally posed in the caveman scene.
You're right. Yeah, that sets that up because that is the initial fear. And then I liked because they pointed out, he's like, that's all ghosts are, is the memories of the dead ones that you have. I thought that was a neat look.
I have my own personal bugaboos about some of the depictions of that. But the lesson is still
I just thought that was an interesting take. That was something I had never come across before. But I thought that was cool. And bringing they achieved fire in that scene, if I remember.
That's what I talk about too. I like the explanation of like ghosts back in like prehistoric times. I thought that was interesting how he ties that in. The cavemen, when they lose people, they would still have the memory of them. So they not knowing what ghosts or what memories were, that's kind of what they equated them to, was that the dead were speaking to them. Or that was very interesting.
It's pretty.
Yeah, it was something new to me.
I never thought anything like that, but it makes sense. I mean, you wouldn't know why, but you're having these vivid memories of someone that's been lost, and why are you having these?
Does that make ghosts more interesting to you?
No.
Okay, so my bugaboo about that is you're telling me that their intellect is so low that they can't understand that what they're recalling is something that they that has happened, but their brain is so formed enough that they can form the mythology of an afterlife. They died, they came back, they have this thing inside them that's a soul that exists outside the body. Unlikely.
I guess
that's why I said I have a slight bugaboo about this, but nevertheless, the lesson that it's trying to teach there and the scene itself would have been amazing.
To put to screen.
The only reason why I actually have a bugaboo about that is because I think that's pretty much the only thing on a philosophical level that I actually have a problem with, and so it kind of just sticks out to me a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
But the lesson is still, what it's trying to teach is still firmly rooted in the positive.
Right. Yeah. So, and it's still kind of like addressing that, like maybe this is how humanity began to understand the things of you.
Right. Yeah. I just don't think it happened quite like that.
Right. There's a couple of things in here too. Yeah, this isn't the best like history book. There's something along the way where I was kind of like, it's putting the truth of the story before perhaps the truth of the history, but also like it was written in what, 72?
Yeah,
72. Yep.
History that he could get his hands on to understand. So.
Yeah, and he definitely overstated the witch thing.
Yeah.
No, where he's like, they were jam packed full of witches from the rafters to the rooftops. It's like, I don't know.
Accusations of witches, maybe.
But that's not what he's saying. He didn't say the accusations. He said it was.
Yeah. What does he say? Like every town has a witch, basically. Yeah.
Stuff. Oh yeah. But he was also like describing the dinosaurs at one point as being like 1 billion years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was so. How much of it is just frou
Oh,
fluff,
for
and how
sure.
much of it is? Although, if you turn witches into pagan religions, you know what I mean. Then yeah, they were everywhere and stuff. You know, depending on the time period. I guess it depends on the time period.
Yeah, that's my problem. Is the time at which the witch hunts were happening the way he's depicting.
Right.
I don't know.
They were
I don't
mostly.
actually know how many pagan religions there actually were still out there.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were. I'm sure it wasn't none.
Right.
But was it like, oh, they were at all the rooftops? And
they wouldn't
I
be.
don't think so.
They would be out and proud about it at that time.
Well, there wouldn't be that many because, like, the fact of the matter is, during that time, your average person was really dumb, and so to them, like the Catholic religion and stuff, you would believe.
Yeah, you wouldn't question that.
So I just don't believe there were that many practicing hidden pagans.
I mean, frankly, culturally enough for them to get away with, like, inquisitioning people. I think you're right. Like, the majority of the population at that point has to be,
So,
following that pope.
But nevertheless, once again, that's not. I don't think he was really trying to aim for 100% accuracy.
He was definitely going more for the truth of the spirit of this.
And also, Mountshroud's not a reliable narrator,
that is very true.
Yeah, he just does twist it a little bit more to his favor.
Point. You're right. Especially if he is death, he's going to want to make himself look good throughout history.
Yeah.
My biggest kind of angst with it is the interpretation of Samhain, because with Samhain, it like really had more of a sinister feel to it, whereas as I know it, it's more of a time of harvest. It is a time of treats and trickery, but I feel like we kind of got more of the sinister trickery side of it than we really got more of the harvest and the time to sort of like batten down the hatches and whatnot.
Well, so let me pose you this. That's Moundshroud, regardless of what, because he tells them that's not me
each time.
But he says but if he's death and that's the god of the dead.
Yeah. Well, and often they think that something in each visit is him. And he's like, no, it's not.
Oh, yeah.
But it probably is.
Oh, yeah.
So I would say that he's showing himself to be, he's aiming for the death side of it because that's the lesson he's trying to teach these boys.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'll kind of pose you this too. As they're going through humanity's journey with facing death, they're also going through their own. So it kind of makes sense just in a story structure sense that this is now their first real confrontation with
being able to die.
Yeah. And seeing things dying and stuff. So making it terrifying so that they can then reconcile with that makes sense in a story way. But I know what you mean as far as,
like the true spirit of it wasn't necessarily the death aspect.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the second part for me is he has the boys admit that traveling with him has been both trick and treat.
That is a good point.
Implying that he hasn't been entirely honest with them the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
True.
Yep.
Yeah.
The trick has been part of it. Yeah.
So
should we get into the costumes? Because that's really what leads us to go on these different journeys.
I think costumes
That's a good idea. Yeah, we need
Boys,
some sort of anchor in this. Yeah.
Yep. And we started off with the caveman. There was a boy dressed as an ape man.
We start out with the mummy.
It does go to
we do
Egypt
go to
first.
Egypt
Yeah,
first.
Egypt.
I wondered about that. Why does it go Egypt and then caveman?
I don't know. It's because he sees. Doesn't he see cavemen in the hieroglyphics? Isn't that what it is?
Well, they're going through the hieroglyphics, and that's the lesson of the sun, like the fear of the sun never coming back. And so in each hieroglyphic that they pass, it's like the sun's dying again, but then it comes back.
See, I almost remembered it in the other order.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure for some reason.
I believe you. I just.
Yeah. And then when they're at the end of the book, they make it clear that the 8-man stuff happened first when they kind of recap it in their own weird way. Yeah.
Maybe that's why I remember it as happening first.
Because of the recap. Yeah.
Yeah, so in the movie there is a mummy, of course. We have Tom Skeleton. Yeah, Tom Skeleton.
Skeleton.
Yes. We have a witch, which is in the book as well, but in the movie it's a girl.
Right. Yeah.
And that's pretty interesting too, because that changes like the main story of the or changes some of the elements of the movie as well, with her being involved.
Yeah.
Especially at the end.
Yeah.
We have what is he? He's a gargoyle. Isn't that what he is in the movie?
Yep.
A gargoyle.
Yep.
Is he a gargoyle? He's a gargoyle in the book.
And he's a gargoyle in the movie because he's so good at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, he does the same thing in the book as he does in the movie, where he has to scale Notre Dame
as it's being built.
It's being built, and he does the steps.
Yeah, like you were talking about earlier, stepping out into the air, and then the stone comes up under it.
Man, for next Cultober, we should all do our avatars as one of the kids from the Halloween.
That would have been good. Damn.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, we should have.
As he can be Mountroud since we dug on him for being a kid.
We should have done that. I should have thought of that. Oh, well. Next year. It's always next year.
There's always next year.
Always next year.
Because ours this year looked great.
I'm not arguing on the ones we got now.
Yeah.
So Wally is actually only credited as the monster. It doesn't necessarily say that he's a gargoyle, but I assume that's what it is. But he's
in the movie, you mean?
Yeah, in the movie there is the monster, the skeleton, the mummy, and the witch. Is what we get there. And then of course Pipkin.
Yeah.
Who is a ghost.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So that's where we get there. But in the book, it's we have a mummy, we have a skeleton, of course, we have a witch. Then also we have a monster or an ape man, a gargoyle.
Yep.
God, who else am I forgetting? There's
Ghost,
3 other.
Beggar.
There's a ghost, a beggar.
A ghost, a beggar, and what would be the eighth one?
Who was the ghost? Wait, what was the ghost connected to? I can't remember. Or was that Pipkin?
No, there was an actual ghost.
Yeah, Pipkin is just credited the ghost in the movie. But yeah, there's an actual kid dressed in a sheet ghost outfit in the book. It has they have a picture of him on the cover of the book. You guys have my book.
Oh,
yeah, it's got him on there. But yeah, so they cut him in half, which I think. Do you prefer it with that amount of boys, or did you prefer the more, I guess, slimmed down version of the movie?
I preferred it with the 8, only because you got more story out of it. Either way, I love both of them a lot, but I just like the fact that you got more story and a little bit more of that Ray Bradbury history to go along with it, and you get more of Mountroud as well.
Yeah,
so that's why I like the 8 more.
I preferred the trimmed down version in the book. I feel like in the movie, I feel like it was just more of a maybe use the word a lot efficient. I feel like it was a more efficient way of telling the story because there was some parts of the book where it's like it was like you're hitting so much because it is a historical, it's a history tale basically. It's a history lesson.
You're going through a lot of time.
Yes, and in the book you kind of felt that. You felt the span as you were jumping all across these different time periods and different points in the world. So
yeah,
I preferred the more trimmed down version of the movie over the book. But not to say I didn't like either one, but if I had to pick one, I would say I preferred the way the movie told the story.
And that makes sense. I liked the 8. I liked the 8 for a lot of reasons. Again, we get a lot of we get like twice the lessons, twice the history, whatever lessons with Halloween. Also, tangent time again. Sorry. At the beginning of the book, where they're running through town, they are just described as going through such a raucous, and it was
the wild
loud.
hunt.
It was the wild hunt.
Yeah, it's the wild hunt.
And the wild hunt has ties to Halloween, and it's so old that it also has ties maybe to Christmas. And there are 8 reindeer that are flying through the sky now, and that's kind of another little perhaps evolution tangent that the wild hunt went in. So I'm like 8. There's 8 too, and that's got some symmetry to it that I like because I love that it seems to be. That's my speculation, that it is tied to the wild hunt, which was so old. That was our fear of the wind and night and stuff like that back then. So I like the 8 for the symbolic reasons of it, perhaps, and and the meat, more meat.
Speaking of the beginning and the costumes, man, when they're describing them getting in their costumes, that's the thing. Everything he could easily say, someone opened a trunk and got their costume. He's talking about
trunks were disemboweled, popped off their hinges in a flurry of action.
He is a master of prose.
It's beautiful.
It is insane. Just some of the stuff you're like, you can critique some people like, man, did you really have to go all that to say that? But it's like, no, it was very enjoyable because there was such whimsy behind it. It really put you in that spot.
Whimsy is such a good word.
Yeah, he's really trying to get you into the mindset of these boys.
Right.
To get you to feel the way they're feeling. It's like they're not just emptying these trunks; they're diving into them, and shit's just flying everywhere.
This is an event. It is not. It is not a moment in time. It's an event. Like you are.
And I think it's this focus on description that allows adults to still enjoy this book because it's able to get you back.
Yeah, it did. It put me right back in like my kitty shoes.
Yes,
back in the day. Yeah.
And FYI, eight boys is better than 4.
Okay, you like the A over 4.
More meat on the bones.
Yeah.
Eric summed up the way I think about it. It's just
right on. Yeah.
If you're gonna fair. I think it gives it a nice solid. Without the H, you don't get that lesson at the end about death.
Yeah.
And I think the book is better for that. Having had that, I would rather. The movie is more of a lesson on Halloween, and it took out a lot of the death elements, which is fine. That's fine.
That is okay. Yeah.
But
that's a good point.
I do think it would have been better leaving those elements in and letting the kids have the bitter with the sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. The trick with
that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So my thought.
No vampire in the book, was there?
Oh, there isn't.
That's an interesting
point.
No vampires.
No undead creature at all.
No, well, mummy.
There's
maybe.
The mummy.
Mummy. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So there are no creatures that feed off the living.
There we go.
Okay.
You're right. There isn't at all.
Right.
Huh.
There's no werewolves. There's no vampires.
Yeah.
There's nothing that actively hunts and kills humans on its own.
Brendan Fraser's The Mummy would highly disagree.
He eats people. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
He sucks souls.
Yeah, but if you look at the original Mummy, like all he did was like strangle people.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was crazed.
Yeah.
You get strangled by a mummy. It's like, what are you doing? That's the way you go.
That's the way you're going.
Listen, I prefer to think of it as being beaten to death by an undead body being brought back to life by a spirit. And if I can't surmount that, then you put that on my fucking fine.
How'd he die? He was strangled by a mummy. Was it moving fast? No, not at all. Was it shambling? It was kind of shambling there. He just
tripped a couple times.
Yeah, he was not paying attention and didn't seem to fight back at all.
Oh yeah, that'd be the worst.
Listen, every building's got corners, man. Around the corner sometime.
Yeah.
Shit. One of the things I loved, and it's in both the movie and the book, is the Forbidden Country. I liked when he refers to as, or the Forgotten Country.
Oh,
He refers as the Forgotten Country. I love that for some reason. It's very mysterious way of describing it. This is that rooted in anything? Is that like because I've never heard of this Forgotten Country.
The Forgotten Country.
I'm so not gonna lie to you. As soon as you said that, I was like The Nameless City by H.P. Lovecraft. Like
it's very possible. I mean, it could be something like that.
There is an H.P. Lovecraft line in this book for sure.
Really?
As soon as I heard it, I was like, oh yeah. When he says, "Death will die," that's a Lovecraft line because he says, "That is not dead which can eternal lie, and in strange eons even death may die."
Oh my god!
So as soon as he heard that, I was like, that's a little Lovecrafty right there.
Why are you not,
Mr. Bradbury?
Why are you not spouting Lovecraftian poetry to me at all hours of the day, sir? You just got this locked up in your brain, and you're not like serenading me. I feel gypped.
I have a favorite line from the book. I even wrote it down because when I heard it, I was like, it made me laugh so much.
Okay.
It was, so much was going on that Tom Skeleton had to exclaim, "Gosh, so much is going on."
That was Bradbury getting a little lazy there.
Listen, you can't all be bangers.
Yeah. Oh no, he earned that one.
That's probably what stood out. Yeah. It's like there's so many like points where like Roundshroud is spouting off these like paragraphs of like pure poetry. Then there's that one line I heard, I cracked up. I had to write it down. I was like, I gotta write that.
He must have done that on purpose.
Yeah, there's so much going on that Tom Skeleton had to exclaim, "Gosh, so much is going on." That's great.
I didn't remember that.
It really stuck out to me.
That is so
spoke to me.
Spoke to you. Yeah. That's how much. That is how much was going on.
That was
worth. It was worth saying twice.
That was at 12:30 at night. He had been up for 36 hours straight trying to finish this last line before he could go to bed. He's like 6 scotch and whiskeys in. He's like, fuck it. Kid's 13. The hell am I doing? Apparently, in my mind, for some reason, when Ray Bradbury gets tired, he turns into Bill Burr.
What do you want from me?
Oh shit! Yeah, that line stuck up. But man, there were so many lines that you have to that you just stop and have to take in because the writing in this is superb. And I mean, some of Malmshroud's lines are just amazing. Just pure literary excellence. Like I don't know how else to put them. Like it's just you read some of the shit that Malmshroud says, and the way it's written, it's fantastic. It's just jaw dropping. How someone's writing that stuff.
And what's clever about it is I think every once in a while, like Mr. Bradbury knows that he's going a little hard in the paint because he'll have Malmshroud just going like this like big long soliloquy about something, right? And he'll go to the kids and the kids will go,
"What?
Wow."
Gosh.
Yeah. Where it's just like the kids are like, what the fuck?
Deep thoughts, man.
And so I think at least what's good about it is that he's aware that sometimes he goes way too hard for like 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old kids. But it's good. That's another thing that helps keeps the parent, because the parents are going to be the ones reading this book to the kids.
Oh, yeah.
So it helps keeps the parents engaged. And it gives you a lot of, like, as a parent, it would give you a lot of opportunities to put a little performance into reading for your kid.
Absolutely.
You know, Benedict Cumberbatch did the voice of Smaug based off the voice his dad did for Smaug when he read the books to him. So, like, never underestimate the impact that kind of thing can have.
Yeah.
So if you're going to read to your kids, put some effort into it.
Yeah, put some effort in writing, man. I think main thing is like there's no one else writing like this for kids. That's probably to its detriment. Because I mean, it's fantastic. Imagine being a kid and reading this, and that stuff sticks with you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this would be if you did get a kid that read it and like really liked it and digested it. This would be a good foundational.
A good foundation to like their worldview.
Yeah,
and the way that they
or their creative process if they go towards writing. And this is a book that this is a good foundational book because I always approach things as like, you know, when it comes to books and movies and stuff, and obviously I'm not a parent, but what you give to kids is their foundational view of stuff. So the lessons you teach them are, and also in their creative endeavors. So what they take in is what they'll put out.
And that is how you get good, like is by exposing yourself to different like types of writing and nope. Writing styles, art styles, different films with different themes and ideas.
You know what's great about that moment? Whether you said something or nothing, the fact that he had to pause on you expose yourself, pause. That's spot to pause. No,
not what I was going for.
Just nope. Terrible. There's no good.
I think this is the least vulgar episode we've had so far, honestly.
I haven't said the F word once.
Oh, I have.
I think Ben went on a little tangent always talking about the guy that wrote Miss Marvel, but
I mean that's understandable though.
Yeah.
How did we feel again? Oh man, I'm jumping to the end of it. But I really want to know.
We're kind of all over the place with this. We're doing a book review. We're not doing a breakdown. So
okay, cool. Yeah. But how did we feel again about each kid giving up a year of their life to save Pipkin?
I like that part.
Oh, that was
that was a great. That was like a sacrifice. I thought that was awesome. It's like you think of a year as like, you know, no, it's just a year. It's 12 months. Yeah. But like when it comes to your life, like there's a lot you can accomplish in a year. Like like imagine how many people have like wished they had an extra year.
Dude.
Oh yeah. No kidding.
I mean, unless they died by suicide, literally every person that's ever died.
Absolutely. I mean, I was like, well, hell, people that commit suicide, I imagine they think like, man, if I had just one more year to make some changes, you know, a year is a pretty important thing for your life. So I mean, that's a really powerful part of the book. I mean, of the movie is, you know, them giving up that life. It's a big sacrifice for some, and it shows how much they cared for Pipkin, how much he means to them. Like I love that part of the movie.
Yeah. And in the book, it was like I was listening to it in my car, and I was so engrossed in that part. I'm just like, I felt tension as they were going into like the weight of what a year means, because Malmshroud's like, don't just say yeses.
No,
like,
he says if
think
you
about what your
although he's a little, again, this is a little bit of the trick in my opinion. Is when he's giving them like the age ranges, he's very generous with some of those.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
He was like, some of you, if you're going to live to be 65, will die at 64. But then he didn't go, and some of you are 13 and you were meant to die at 14. See you in 2 days.
Which, you just don't know.
Imagine if he was like, they munched down those skulls. He's like, well, you were all going to die in a bus accident 2 days from now. Boom. And all 8 kids just dropped.
That's a big trick.
So he is a little, but that's part of trick.
Yeah, but he does give it quite a good range. It's at least,
he hammers the point
from the 50s to the 90s, kind of.
I think it would have been pretty. You think it would have made them like reconsider if he would have like brought up the fact, like maybe you could die tomorrow, rather than someone here could could die in a year, but now you will die tomorrow. I feel like that might have been a little more impactful especially for a kid. I mean,
right?
Because you're a kid, you're thinking 60. That's fucking hella old. I've done so much by then.
Yeah.
So if for the age range that this is aimed at, no, I don't think so.
Right.
If this were aimed at slightly older kids, then I would say not only do you present that you could die tomorrow because of it, you actually then dive into that. You have one of the kids back out, and then you have like Tom Skelton offer 2 years of his life to make up for the kid that said no.
Oh,
these are themes that you can get into if it's aimed
with
at
a
like
bit of an older group.
15, 16, 17.
Yeah.
But that's not what this story is aimed at. So while I pose those questions as an adult, I don't think this book needs to pose those questions.
I don't think I needed it. Yeah.
Although there's an interesting conversation to be had there if you wanted to do like a Halloween Tree 2 that's aimed at slightly older kids. although they did that with Barbie and now they're going to do it with Barney, and I'm already sick of it. But anyway, if you were to do something, there is a good story there that's faithful to the original that you could do.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not encouraging it.
Just don't trust it.
No. It's all about trust.
You can't trust it. No. I remember years ago when you'd hear there was a book being made or a remake, you'd have like some excitement. Now it's just you hear something, now you're just like you feel dread. You're like, how are they going to fuck up this thing I care about?
Yeah. Really. Honestly.
How are they going to make me feel bad for liking something?
There will literally be nothing left.
Punish
no.
Yeah, there won't be.
We'll see. Things could be coming to a change, but you never know.
Let's focus on the positives, which this book offers.
A plethora. Yeah, plethora of positives.
Yes.
There's the negatives are so minuscule, it's even hard to even think of. Off the top of my head, it'd be nitpicking kind of things, like certain aspects I don't necessarily agree with, but it's nothing that deterred me from enjoying the book or made me like set the book down or anything like that. I mean, it's just differences in people's views on things, I'd imagine.
Right.
But
there's
no negatives that really come to mind where I just was upset or put off by this book at all.
Right. Yeah. No. Agreed.
I thought the guy that did the Audible too was fantastic. He was,
oh my gosh,
he was good.
Took me a minute to get into him, but once he introduces Moundshroud and he starts doing that voice for Moundshroud,
he was hooked
for
sure.
Yep.
We were in the car, and at one point I was just like in my seat, just all cuddled up with my sunglasses on, and I was just like, "Oh, this is beautiful." I'm imagining I'm surrounded by a campfire right now, and it's wonderful.
He made it really easy to get through. I really enjoyed it. I don't have anything so far. I've read the book, I've listened to the audiobook, and I've watched the movie, and I don't have anything negative to say about any of the pieces of media I've seen for this yet.
No.
But we'll see.
Honestly, this would be like a super good one to read to kids like during Halloween, like just take the day and just read the book to them, or have it play, or watch the movie, or do like all fucking three.
I think I would encourage you to at least have 2 versions of this rotating in October, the movie and the book, because they teach not different lessons, but one is required, which I think is the book, and the other one is, I think you should show them the movie to help make it more fun.
Yeah, because I definitely agree with what you said earlier. You pointed out the movie is it keeps the Halloween part, but it kind of removes the death. Yeah, addressing the death so heavily in that,
Which is, so that, in my opinion, the reason why the movie's so good is because Ray Bradbury did that.
Yeah,
because he's the original architect of this story, he's very easy. He was able to go in and remove those blocks without destroying anything.
Yeah, he could still keep the story intact in a way that would work.
Whereas if it was an outside person, they would come in with like a fucking hatchet and just start chopping the shit out.
Right.
I'm sure.
I guess we don't need the gargoyle part. Like,
yeah.
Well, then we don't need to do Notre Dame.
It's like, well, but that's what happened to our fear of death. It's like I loved that. We gave it a job. We gave it a new job or something like that. All the creepy crawly monsters that the scariness became, we found
all the old gods crawl up onto the
onto the
one of my favorite omissions from the book that didn't make it into the movie is the broom factory. Reading that, I was like, man, this is just a cool set piece. Witches building brooms, them like flying off, like man, like I love that part. It just listening to it, it's just a cool set piece.
Like asking to be a cartoon,
Yeah, for real, it was.
I'll bet one of they probably cut that out for time, and then the scene right before that where they're like, there's just witches hanging from every lamppost. Did
you like the explanation of witch, like where that came from? Do you like that?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Witch is wit. Yeah, he talks about what is the word witch, and he explains that it's wit. He's like, in the olden days, someone has wit, they were smarter and they thought about things in a different perspective than other people, and they didn't align with the beliefs of the church or whatever, so they were then seen as witches. That's where that word came from, or at least that's what he was saying the word came from.
Right. Yeah.
I would have to
I don't know the history of that. Yeah, I don't know the history.
I like the spirit of it, because there was a time where the pursuit of magic and the pursuit of science were not looked at as different. Mm-hmm. They were the same. They're both, if you think about it in a certain way, they're both striving to uncover truth. It's just the approach. What are you approaching through? And so that's kind of how I interpret what he's trying to get across with witches. Is it's like, okay, anyone who is looking into something that might be looked at as weird or unusual or something they don't understand, because like Ben said earlier, people weren't that smart back then.
You could even exchange the word weird for it.
Yes. Right. Exactly. And that is kind of more what I mean anyway with that. So is that really what the root of witch is? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know that I buy the historical aspects of his view on witchery, but I do think that provides an adequate view of what was happening at that time.
Yeah. And I think that pretty well represents kind of what happened, because we used to have shamans, hedge witches was another word for them. And they were kind of people that were like part of a society, but kind of on the fringe of it. And they were usually like healers or spiritual intercessors.
Eat this moss or this mold.
Yeah, exactly.
Which we now know is...
Yeah, more of a science thing, a medicine thing.
Right.
But, they were also like, going into hallucinations and telling you what, your dead grandma said, So it was all kind of intertwined. So I liked that. I liked that approach to it. It rang true to me in ways that maybe weren't historically beat for beat, but accurate in some sense.
It's the caveman thing. It might not be strictly accurate, but it gets the point that he's trying to get to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's how I felt about it as well.
From what I can briefly recall, like it really just depends on what sector of the world you're looking at through that time. Also, there were, speaking of just like the word witch in general, so brief history lesson, female sorcerers were far more highly favored than what male sorcerers were. Like, and I can't remember where I'm recalling this from, but I know that I've read it.
Probably Norse.
That's definitely Norse.
Yeah. So there was a lesser word, and I don't know if it was witch or not, that were used for the male sorcerers.
What is that? Eagery?
Yeah, I was gonna say, dude, you used to know this one.
Yeah, I did.
We've talked about this a lot.
But that's Norse mythology. There's like a taboo word for like an effeminate man, and it's usually tied with practicing magic.
Right. Because the men that practice magic in Norse, they would have to dress as women.
Yeah.
Right.
And they would, live their lives as women.
Magic was seen as a female science.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That men would do, but then they were looked at in a certain way.
Right.
Apparently. So can't remember what that word is. You're right. That
it's going to hit you at like 4 hours from now. You're going to call us and be like, this is what it is.
Maybe a future Eric will pop in with it.
I was getting ready to say, you know what this is? Yeah. This is us relying on future Eric.
Yeah.
So much for Cultober. Yeah.
I don't know, man. He's a grouchy motherfucker. Trying to get him to come on to Cultober.
Listen, you bastard. Sometimes I know you got a lot going on because I leave a lot for you to do. Help me out here. Come on.
You know what? Past Eric, currently present Eric, you should just help him out a little bit sometimes.
Sometimes think you should.
Nice asshole. Fuck him.
Well, you guys want to give our rating on the book here in the next segment?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Ooh, okay.
All right, let's go. Let's hop on over to the next segment and let's talk about what we thought of the Halloween Tree book.
It was a small town by a small river and a small lake in a small northern part of a Midwest state.
So we've talked about the book. I don't think it's going to be any surprise. Much with the movie, when we talk about the movie, I didn't hear a lot of negativity. So I think most people can predict where our ratings or whereabouts our ratings are going to land.
Maybe.
What was, I would have to say, Eric, what was your favorite part of the book? If you had to pick a favorite thing in the book.
That's super tough. I'm torn between the beginning when they are first initially like wild hunting it through town. No, it's gotta be. It's when they are making the decision to give up the years for Pip. Just the weight put on that, and that's where I made my like realization. It's like, oh, Pip is kind of like the sacrificial god. The cycle that they're talking about. It's that same thing. He's the sun. So that was what gave me that kind of like spark in my brain. So it's got to be that. It was just treated so well. But man, it is hard picking a favorite part of this book.
It really is. My favorite part would have to be them getting their costumes on. I absolutely love that. It like made me feel like a kid again. It made me feel like a kid again. I don't know. That's what it is. Like that's what you feel like when you're a kid and you're like getting ready for Halloween.
You're right.
Yeah.
It captures that so well. You're right.
So that's my favorite part.
Back in that spot.
What about you, babe?
Probably when we found out that Pip was entangled with the wise men. Like either could have been Jesus, could have been one of the wise men, because that to me, that was when the beginning made all the more sense. Because I was like, of course, Pipkin was Jesus. And like it just made me laugh so hard and brought me such joy. And that's just if I had to pick one part. I mean, it's such an amazing book. But that was one where I literally just laughed out loud so hard. And it's quite beautiful as well to see his life through very many different eras through time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
For me, it was probably the end where Tom and Death or Moundshroud are talking, and he asks him about like, will we ever not be afraid of the dark? And Moundshroud's like, yes, once you die and you go to exist wherever else you will. And he's like, yeah, all of those fears are going to melt away. So I like a nice cherry on top, and I think that was it.
Yeah. Oh, that is true. It's like you won't fear death after you die.
Right. In my opinion, like this book is a good book to introduce the concept of death to a child.
Yes.
Like this would be good to either read after a pet has passed away or right before a pet is going to pass away.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you're introducing the idea of death to a child, you can't just leave them there, right? You have to give them a way out. And I think that ending conversation with Moundshroud is that.
Yeah.
It's the way out for the child so that at the end of the book, they're not just left in some sort of like existential crisis.
Yeah.
You're right. It gives them that hope, and it's like,
so
it's not something to be feared.
Right.
Yeah.
And I like that he says, as you become older, you'll become more at peace or something to that effect.
Yeah, like you'll lose your fear more and more, and then eventually it just all goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's probably my favorite part, I think.
Well, if we had to rate it, so I'll start things off. I'm going to rate this book, the Halloween Tree book by Ray Bradbury. I'm going to go ahead and rate this 4 lives out of 5. I'll give it. I'll give it 4 of my lives. 4 years. 4 years. Sorry, 4 years.
4 years. Yeah.
I'll give it 4 years out of 5. That's what I'm gonna give it. So I love this book. It's fantastic, man. He just reading some of the stuff, like it's like pure poetry. Like I don't know, it's amazing the way he was able to describe things in this book and how it just made you feel like you were in Halloween. Like it's Halloween when you're reading this book.
Yeah.
You feel the excitement and you feel the season and you take in the lessons that's being taught to you as well. Like you're not bored. This stuff isn't going over your head. Like it's pretty thought-provoking stuff for a kid's book of all things. Because you don't see that kind of thing a lot anymore. Most kids media is pretty soft or
they just
pretty shitty. But
I would love to like look at the age range that this was written for and then look at what is selling now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah, I can
Yes.
imagine. It's all. I'm sure it's all YA Twilight clone shit.
Rend my clothes in sackcloth and ashes for the future.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what?
I would.
Stamping these fuckers out. Society's fucked. Let's go.
I would hazard to say probably nothing in the last 20 years would even touch this. Like I'm sure,
No.
past the, it's nothing would even come close to being able to be compared to this.
Yeah.
Especially just the way it handles things like death. I mean, it's such a cool way to introduce a kid to that, and a really good way to do that. 4 out of 5. I'm giving it.
Done. Okay. I'll go next.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. I'm giving this 5 giant monster kites soaring through the air out of 5
pterodactyl.
Pterodactyl.
Pterodactyl, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. But it had also like a bunch of other things moving through
definitely.
it and roaring and stuff.
Yeah, that flying lizard.
Yep. 5 out of 5. This to me was amazing. The way that this guy puts a sentence together is just fucking magical. It's art. This is obviously incredible. And it's got Halloween written through it, top to bottom, like out there on the surface and deep in the like subtext. It's got layers to it that kids can explore as they read it and that adults can find interesting. Perhaps there were things that we as adults picked up on from the book that like kids wouldn't quite understand or get on their first read through and stuff like that. So I think this is great. I think, again, it just has such a good beat to it. This whole thing is like gripping and it pulls you into it. Like you're invested in the lesson. It's not lecturing you. You are invested in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's not preaching to you. It's putting you through the experience. And that's what makes a good storyteller. This author is incredible. So yeah, definitely earns that 5 out of 5 for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 nearly ruptured appendixes.
Wow. Nice. Good one.
But I love this book. It's absolutely amazing. The dramatization just in the writing alone is absolutely beautiful. And I think what I like the most about this book is it's something that a young child could read with their parent or grandparent or teacher or whoever and, understand it and then just keep visiting it later and later and later in each life and learn more and more throughout each. Because I feel like I could read this book again, like here in a couple weeks after this is digested, go back, read it again and pick up more things out of it, more detail through that writing. And it's amazing. And then pairing it with the movie. Oh, so beautiful. So sweet. I love it. 5 out of 5 nearly ruptured appendixes.
Boom.
Yeah, I'm going to have to give it 5 out of 5 Halloween jack-o'-lanterns.
Nice.
Oh,
Good.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
I would give it a 6 if that was a rating.
I feel the same.
The lesson that it teaches about death is just, it's invaluable. It's something that's not taught. It's the ultimate lesson that every person has to learn. The sooner we learn it, the better. It's like one of the lessons that parents hate worse than sex is death. To see it handled with such care and dignity in a children's book, wrapped up in a really kick-ass historical lesson.
Yeah.
Well done, Mr. Bradbury. Well done.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I mean, there we have it. I mean, much like the movie, I think we've all really enjoyed this IP. I mean, this is great.
Yeah.
What do you? So I don't want. I'm not going to ask. I was going to ask which one you like, the movie or the book or the movie better. But I don't think it's a fair thing to say. They're both fantastic. I don't think I prefer the movie because I like the visual aspect of it, but in no way do I think that the book is less superior than the movie. I don't know. The book is incredible. I was not expecting the amount of just the lines, the prose, how they were structured. I mean, it's incredible. It truly is just the one of the best books, especially for the Halloween season.
Yeah,
I think as much as the movie sits atop my shelf, in my yearly rotation, this book is probably going to make its way there as well.
Yeah,
but you know what's great about the movie? So I'll say that I prefer the book to the movie, but actually I think they're, in my estimation, they're equal. If I had to gun to my head, but they're equal because I think as beautiful as his poses are and the way he's able to weave artistry into his language, they were able to do that with the matte paintings and the artwork,
the visual elements.
In the visual elements.
Absolutely.
It helped give you that same kind of feel.
You're absolutely right.
Absolutely.
So
they did capture that feeling.
They did
with the visuals. Yeah.
Yep. So I don't think there's any reason to, one does not take away from the other, which is
right. No.
Yeah.
A long time. I mean, it's always been a thing. oh, the movie's better than the book, or then the book's better than the movie, that kind of thing. That whole argument. I don't think that's even a fair thing to say here because they're both fantastic.
There's no need to.
Yeah, there's no need to
compete with one another.
They don't, do they? They each kind of address things in their own way where they do diverge. You know what I mean? Like, okay, 4 kids instead of 8. That makes sense when you're looking at a screen. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. So, no, they both really, really hold up super well.
Oh, yeah.
Just do both.
Yeah. You know what I think of it as? I think of it as it's a wonderful pumpkin pie, and the book is it's a wonderful pumpkin pie, and the movie is all the fixings that go with the pumpkin pie.
Oh, yeah.
I'm hungry.
Bailey's like,
I can tell you trying to wax poetic there. I was going to let you just go. I was like, I'm not sure where this is going. Pumpkins or Halloween pie is Halloween. Sure, let's go.
Let's do it.
Makes sense somehow. But
but if you like whipped cream on top of pumpkin pie and all of the fixings,
who doesn't? Well, okay, listen, you don't put caramel.
Listen, if you like,
I've never had that. That sounds good though. I never had that.
See,
I never had that. That sounds interesting.
Listen, you shouldn't take food advice from a person that puts ranch on everything.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I hate it. Bailey does that. Oh,
yeah, she's
hate those people. I can't stand it.
Ranch master racer. You gotta believe it.
That's true. Yeah, that and Chick-fil-A sauce.
Chick-fil-A sauce is fine, but
Chick-fil-A sauce is good. But that's not Chick-fil-A. But I mean, ranch. There's certain things. If it's not on a salad, I don't see the point.
Ranch goes on pizza. It's wonderful.
Oh
no! Why would you ruin a pizza? It's like putting A1 on steak. What are you doing?
I agree with that. Although A1 is fantastic on a cheeseburger.
Oh yeah. A1 is a condiment. It's not a steak to go on a steak.
Yeah, if you have to put something on your steak to make it taste good, then you should return that fucking steak.
Yeah, you overpaid for your ground beef patty if you're putting A1 on a steak.
Look at what you've done.
I think our listeners are leaving to go get lunch now.
Yeah.
They're like,
I'm jealous of them.
But there you have it, guys. That was our review of the Halloween Tree book. Cannot recommend it. If you see anything Halloween Tree, just go, read it, watch it, listen to it, whatever.
Yes.
For now, anyways. As of 2023, you can.
And it's 100% safe and good for your kids too.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can do it without. You can get it without having to check.
Friendly.
Yeah. Disney hasn't got its fingers in it yet, so it's pretty safe.
Tentacles
for now.
Yeah.
For now. They'll start selling a couple digits off here soon. They're gonna have to.
Yeah.
They have not got on Halloween Tree, but Halloween Tree, fantastic. You would do yourself a disservice if you do not introduce yourself to this this in some way. It's all great. It's amazing. Cultober almost to an end. We're almost there. It's been a long month.
It has
been. A lot of stuff.
This month has just seemed like it's the month that just crops up every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Halloween year long. Cultober all year long is what
all
it's
year
felt
long.
like.
All year long.
Yeah, we worked really hard on all this stuff. It's been work, but we did it because we wanted to put out some awesome content. We wanted to see what we could do. Stretch ourselves. We love Halloween. That's the whole idea behind Cultober. It's our favorite time of year, and we want to celebrate it. So what better way than to celebrate the entire month? And we're almost there. This is Sunday, the 29th, which means we're just a couple days away from Halloween. Tomorrow you can catch Cult of Campbell. We will be reviewing a long-awaited review. We promised this way back when it came out. We're a little late, but we're going to be reviewing Evil Dead Rise. Another Bruce Campbell-less movie for Cult of Campbell this month.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
He talked about it at Bruce-O-Rama, though.
He's in there, so his voice is in there as one of the recordings. But we'll rate the groovy of that recording, I guess.
Oh my god!
And then Halloween Day, it'll be a double release on Cult Talk Conspiracy. Billy and I are wrapping things up over there for our month-long releases we've done. We're going to be talking about the Jersey Devil.
Nice.
Ooh,
the Jersey Devil. Talking about him.
Mrs.
The devil.
Lee's 13th child.
Oh, yeah. The demon of the Pine Barrens. We're going to talk about him. And also, that same day, everything's led up to, as every Cultober all leads up to our big Halloween special.
Yeah.
We're doing The Addams Family.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
The original Addams. Oh, not the original, but was it 93, I think, when that came out?
Yes.
That Addams Family with Raul Julia.
Isn't it funny how our Cultober our finale movie is always more silly spooky than
we've talked about that. We've talked. I know that was like one of the conversations we had. Like thinking of the special as like it's got to kind of fit in line with this like spooky kind of kooky kind of like not necessarily like horror or like scary. It's kind of like a spooky movie.
You know what that means? That next year we only have one option.
Well, what's that?
The Frighteners.
Oh,
Frighteners. We've been talking about doing that for a while. I'm honestly surprised Mike didn't choose that sooner because that's like one of his favorite movies. I'm really surprised he didn't choose that sooner.
No, that's got to be a headliner.
Yeah,
that fits right in there.
But this year we're talking about Addams Family. Cannot wait to watch that movie. Definitely a staple as far as the Halloween season for myself.
God, I love both of them. Addams Family and Addams Family Values.
And if you love Addams Family Values, you might not have to wait too long for you to hear us talk about that. But we'll talk. We'll give more details on that later.
Ooh,
Hot damn
teaser.
Yeah, teasing. As much as Addams Family is a Halloween movie, Family Values might be a little different holiday. But we'll talk about that later. But yeah, that's gonna be Tuesday, and that's gonna be on all Cult Talk Net shows. Cult of Campbell, Cult of Allure, Cult Talk Conspiracy. You can find us as well as youtube.com/Cult Talk Net. Also, you can find us at Cult Talk Net across the board: Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Threads, all the things. Check out Cult of Lore on Mondays, Cult Talk Conspiracy every other Tuesday.
You say Cult of Lore on Mondays?
Cult of Campbell on Mondays. Cult of Campbell on Mondays. Cult of Campbell on Mondays, Cult Talk Conspiracy every other Tuesday, and Cult of Lore every first and third Thursday.
There we go.
Make sure you check out youtube.com/Cult Talk Net for the full-length video episode that they work really hard on. So make sure you check that out.
Got some visual elements for you.
Yeah, visual elements. Everyone loves some visual elements. So check all that out. But there you have it, guys. Halloween Tree, the book review. We've reviewed the movie, the book, so you can listen to those back to back and go find them and watch them. I think they're all on Amazon Prime. The movies on Prime Video for rent or purchase. The DVDs on Amazon Prime. The books on Amazon Prime. The audiobooks on Audible. The digitals on Kindle. It's pretty accessible. That's what we're trying to say.
Yeah. They wanted to get it out there, and it should be out there.
Yep,
absolutely.
Go find it. Watch it. Read it.
But until next time, I've been Ty.
I've been Eric.
I've been Bailey.
And I'm Ben.
And have a happy Cultober.